is private property. What is your purpose here? Come talk to me. What is your purpose here? Do me a favor. Go ahead and keep your hands where I can see them. You're on private property right now, buddy. You're on video and audio right now. This is private property. What are you doing here, buddy? Yeah, I think you've had a little too much to drink there, buddy.
So I'm actually going to be painting this thing. I'm going to put a little bit of paint on it, and I'm going to wrap it with some camouflage camo form, just so it doesn't have the reflectivity on it, and also so it has more grip to it, so I'm less likely to drop it. And it looks cool. It looks more militaristic and tactical when you do that. So this is going to get a paint job. It's going to get some camo form on it. You know, not too dissimilar to everything else I have. So you probably, I know what you guys are thinking. Why would you want to give away your position? Why would you want to have people know where you are? Well, you can do this from an area of concealment to where they don't see where you're talking to them from. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like, this is not a situation you would use all the time. It's discretionary, but this is something you should have in your toolkit. I think in combination with really bright flashlights, or in combination with the pepper ball gun, what I've talked about, this is just one more thing you could have in your toolkit. And it's definitely either, you know, this or like a PA system. It's definitely a good way to get the average bad person that means you harm is gonna run the frick away from you when they see you're this well organized. Really, this is the type of thing that is gonna make them run for the hills. This is gonna make bad people run for the hills. If your voice is amplified, just like high lumen flashlights and stuff like that, criminals associate this with power, authority. It sounds like a police bullhorn. So for the same reason you could scare the crap out of them with high lumen flashlights, I encourage you to check out my video on that. I got a video called Scare the Crap Out of Criminals with High Lumen Flashlights. This is a Pyle megaphone. Part of the reason I wanted to film this now, before I painted it, so, you know, just so you could see the logo and all that, and just so you could see how they look before I make this tactical autist, you know, before I do the whole tactical autism job on this thing. I want you to see just how it comes straight out the box. And yeah, you know, it's already kind of green. I didn't want to get the black one because, like, I don't want an extremely dark silhouette. You know, like most of the time I'm probably going to be using this outside with, like, you know, everything out here is green. And I know this isn't really a tactical OD green, but still, it doesn't like create such a dark silhouette. It's already easy to give away your position when you're speaking in a freaking megaphone, right? And so, you know, you don't always want to let people know where you're talking to them from. But this could be used to communicate, you know, all types of stuff, you know. There's so many different scenarios, you know. Pizza delivery, man, over here. We need the pizza over here, right here. There are situations where you need to communicate across your property, and it may be urgent. It may not be somebody bad on your property. It could be any number of people. It could be any number of things. Let's say somebody forgot something or whatever. You just need to communicate across your property. You need a megaphone. You need to be able to project your voice on your property. You need to be able to project your authority on your property. And this is the type of thing that a lot of these people online are going to laugh at, and they're going to say, oh, you don't want to give away your position. That's not very tactical. And you're absolutely right. You don't want to give away your position in the majority of situations. But I gave you a scenario just now. If there's somebody that's drunk and I can tell they're like maybe one of my neighbors or one of my neighbor's friends or something, and they're just kind of stumbling around, you know what I mean? You could also scare animals away with this. You could call animals with this. There's so many different scenarios. I can't even cover them all. There's so many different scenarios. You need to have a megaphone, and these run from anywhere from, like, the good ones run anywhere from like $50 to $100. So for $50 to $100, that's a hell of a good investment. And there's a lot of different situations where you can have them during an emergency. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite features is it has a siren. And guess who doesn't like that sound? Guess who really doesn't like that sound? Criminals really hate that sound. You know, my neighbors aren't that close to me. They're pretty far away. I live in a rural area, but I bet you they heard that. So, you know, and this is, you know, I own several acres of land, and I bet you they still heard that. And so that's substantial. The fact that, you know, I can make this go over several acres and it's still audible, to where my neighbors way the hell far away from me could still hear this. That's significant. And this thing does come with like a sling. One thing I would say is, if you have like a rifle sling too, I would kind of like be very careful about not getting all this stuff kind of caught up, because if you go out looking to respond, you don't want this getting tangled up with your kit. So I would just be careful about how you use the sling. I would use the sling in such a way, like, I'd just be careful about it. If you use it at all, I might take the sling off. I haven't really decided yet. But another thing worth keeping in mind is this may be something somebody else does. You may have one person be like the flashlight guy, one person be the megaphone guy, and then one person you could have as like real deal Overwatch in case something goes wrong. You know, you have to think about, like, what are you going to do on your property? A lot of you are preppers, so what are you going to do on your compound if you have, you know, what appears to be hostile personnel on your compound? What if it looks like some gang members are on your compound? Some people that might be thinking about stealing some stuff. You know, you might opt for a psychological deterrence, or you may opt for not letting them know you're there so that you can actually get the surprise on them. I think that projecting strength is an underrated tactic, and I think projecting strength, especially in like maybe hurricane situations or civil unrest, stuff like that, I think projecting strength is great, because this is the kind of thing where if they come through the area, they're going to pick a different house. They're going to pick a different lot than this. Like, out of all the lots that are here, they're going to avoid mine, because mine is just projecting too much strength. You know, there's a fence, there's, you know, there's a show of strength, there's lights. It's just too much. It's the psychological warfare game, you gotta admit. And I don't need to go into my past and my history and all that from back when I was a political activist on the streets of Tallahassee. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Those who know, know. I know how to project strength. I know how to scare the crap out of my enemies. And this is just one of the ways you do it. This is one of the things in your toolkit. It may work, it may not, but it's there. There are certain situations where you don't even want to use this thing. And you need to talk with your family about what your procedures are, what kind of situation calls for using this thing, what kind of situation doesn't call for using this thing. This is something that you more serious preppers need to have in your toolkit. One thing I will say is I do get the C battery version of this instead of the rechargeable battery version of this. It's cheaper and they last longer, and honestly you get more out of the 50 watts. It's actually louder. You get more out of the 50 watts. I definitely recommend you don't get the rechargeable version of this. It'll last longer. For somebody that uses these like for sports and stuff, like on football fields, these things usually last about 2 years. They poop out a lot of the time. But for somebody that just keeps it in their house and barely ever uses it, only for like emergency situations where they really need to use it, you can expect to get many years out of this thing. But if you're using it all the time, you'll get 2 or 3 years out of it, and then it's going to poop out. They actually come with a 1-year warranty. There's certain situations that this isn't appropriate for. There's certain situations where you could use this, but people are going to look at you like you're a little bit autistic. I mean, for me, that bridge is already, I mean, that ship has sailed a long time ago. So, but if you're not scared of being looked at as a tactical autist, and you're not scared of, you know, being viewed as a total, you know, on the spectrum, then go ahead and get this. You know, this is definitely something you should have in your toolkit. 100%. I highly recommend it. It's the thing nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about using a bullhorn on their property for home defense use, but also for the safety of your own family. If there's a situation going on, you want to be able to let everybody know on your property what's going on, and you could do that with this as well. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching my video.